you find out about Cameron?
Do you like to watch movies?
He likes to watch movies.
Marvels?
Okay, Marvel comics, yeah. Marvel
Yeah,
movies.
comics and movies, yep.
Okay, what else?
What do we talk about?
Okay, how about Athira? What are her hobbies or what does she enjoy
She
doing?
likes sports.
Sports, okay. Alright. Was it a pleasant conversation?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Athira, so you spoke to Siva as well.
Yeah.
What did you find out?
He's a very shy, quiet, I can tell from the way he speaks, and he enjoys his resting time, he said to me.
He enjoys his resting time,
Resting
his free
time.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Good. How about you, Cameron? Who did you speak to?
Siva and Gladys.
Okay. And what did you find out about either one of them?
That he too likes the Marvel movies, and that she likes her garden.
Gardening. So you have something in common with Siva.
Yes.
You both like Marvel movies.
Uh-huh.
And which one in particular?
I like
Just
them
him.
all.
You like them
I
all?
like them
Oh,
all.
really?
I like them
Okay.
all.
Can you guess which one's my favorite superhero?
I'm gonna guess Thor. It is?
For obvious reasons, but no, not really. I'm a Batman fan.
Oh, Batman.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm a
okay.
Batman fan. I like Batman. Okay, good. Thank you. Gladys, who did you speak to?
Spoke to Cameron and
Atira. Okay. And what did you find out about her?
she likes sports.
Mm-hmm.
She's not really the cooking.
She doesn't enjoy cooking. Okay.
Her siblings do most of the cooking.
Okay.
She's learning. Cameron, he's from US.
Yes.
Um,
And he likes Marvel comics.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Zip, who did you speak to? Spoke to Jessica. Okay.
No, but we talk for long. And
Okay.
she's
Singing.
her hobby Lami, playing Lami like once a month.
Singing.
Playing Rummy.
Rummy, yeah.
Okay, so that's a card game, Gin Rummy.
Like Mahjong.
Okay, alright. So similar to poker,
Different.
Mahjong game.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Okay, good. And Jessica, who did you speak to? You spoke to Zip. Okay. She likes going to the gym.
Yes.
Okay, good. And TD, who did you speak to?
Choose anybody?
Shiva, he enjoys meditating.
He enjoys meditating. Okay.
He's a teacher.
He's a teacher. Okay, interesting. Okay, what does he teach?
Meditation.
Oh, he teaches meditation. Oh, very interesting, everybody. Now you know. If you need some Zen time and you need to know how to, Siva will be the one to know. Interesting. Okay, so shall we move on to the next? We're talking about difficult conversations. Now let's just think about it. We've all had difficult conversations before, right? Okay. In our lives, we have difficult conversations sometimes. Now, what kind of scenarios would you have difficult conversations? What possible scenarios would there be when you have to have difficult conversations?
With your family, like
With-
family relations.
Family relationships, yes.
Job interview.
Job interviews, okay.
Heavy topic.
Heavy topics, such as? What kinds of topics would you consider heavy?
Life and death.
Life and death situations, yes. Life and death scenarios, yes, okay. Health issues, right? Okay, good. TD, any difficult
Relationship.
relationships? That's right. So with your spouse, your partners, friendships even, right? You can have difficult conversations when you're having a disagreement with your friends, right? It could also be if you're in a company and you're an employer and you want to fire someone or you want to give negative feedback to someone, that could possibly also be a difficult want to talk to them, you would prepare yourself before approaching them. Okay? So prepare yourself in advance. What is the purpose of your discussion? You should know what is your intention. Okay, why are you having this discussion? Is it because you are disappointed? Is it because you are uncomfortable with something? Do you want something to change? Is it because you want somebody to be aware of something? Okay, are you uncomfortable? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? All these could be possible reasons, so prepare yourself. Know the purpose. Gather relevant information to support your points. Now, what do you think this means? What do you mean by gathering enough information or relevant information?
Like, understand what you're talking about enough?
Yes, understand what you're talking about. So if you're going to go in there and you're going to tell somebody something negative, you need to have enough evidence, enough information so you can present it to that person, right? You don't just produce a negative comment when you have no backing, don't have the support. Anticipate possible reactions and perspectives. Now, most likely when you give someone negative feedback or you're telling them something that they will not like, what do you think the reaction will be? Will they be happy? Yay, thank you for telling me now. What would they feel? Yeah, they might have a sour face, they might feel sad, upset, angry, disappointed, right? They could react in different ways, right? So some people might be quiet, others might
Get angry?
be angry, they might show their reaction in a different way, yes, okay. Now perspectives. Perspectives means there are different ways to look at a situation. Okay, so always know that even if you are the one providing the feedback, you are the one who wants to make someone else aware of something that you don't like, be aware that there can be different perspectives, not only yours. There is a different way to look at the situation. Allow for that to happen. So there must be room for people to communicate with you their personal perspectives on the matter. Okay? Privacy. Why is this important? Can you have a difficult conversation with your spouse, your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend in a loud restaurant? Why not?
Just in case.
Just in case, okay. Why? What would happen?
Distraction.
Distractions, very good. There is noise around you, there are people around you, waiters walking up and down, food smells. You could be hungry at that time. So there could be distractions, and also it doesn't allow for clear communication, right? Okay, so pick the right place and the right time. Naturally, if something is already troubling that person, so if you know someone's going through a troubling time, they're struggling, maybe with work, maybe at home, maybe with other things in their lives, health issues, that might not be the right time to bring up a difficult conversation. So pick the right time and the right place. Okay? Listen actively, show understanding and respect. How do we show understanding? Usually when we talk to someone and they're talking back at us or to us, how do we show understanding? Yes, and what am I doing?
Nodding.
I'm nodding. We tend to do that when we're showing that we're understanding them, right? We understand what they're saying. So this is actually a respectful way. You don't go like that, okay? You don't necessarily have to be a bobblehead, but just nod politely, just to show that yes, I am listening and I understand. You don't have to speak in that moment. It is to show this person I respect what you're saying and I am listening. Okay? Focus. Control your emotion, avoid personal attacks. Okay. So sometimes when you are having the conversation, all that conversation is being had with you. So either the person is telling you something you don't like, or you are saying something to somebody and it's difficult for them to accept. Now, emotions can run high, both ways, correct? So be aware that you have to control your emotions, because if you don't, what will happen?
It's not good.
Yes, you could lose control, that person could lose control, the situation or that conversation could quickly escalate to another level, a higher level, and it will get out of hand, right? So, control your emotions, avoid personal attacks. Now, this is something that would be very useful. Instead of saying, you always, you always do this, you do this to me, you say, I feel. I feel that this is what's happening. I feel this way about this situation. So remember, not you always, I feel. So this might help the conversation flow, because you're not attacking the person, you are telling them how you feel about the situation. Alright. Acknowledge the other person's feelings. Okay, so you have a right to your own feelings, your own perspectives, your own opinions on whatever matter, whatever situation that has transpired. But the other person also has a right to their feelings, their opinions. Yes, so you've got to be respectful of their feedback as well, their input, right? So, and the last one, look for areas of agreement and collaborate solutions. Now, remember, the focus of this discussion, a difficult discussion, is to get to a point of agreement, a point of change, a point of understanding, right? It is not so much about attacking. So, when you attack, you create a bigger problem, feelings get hurt, things will go out of control, get out of control. So here, you're trying to look for something where you can agree upon. The minute you choose to find something you can actually agree upon, you can see that your emotions will dissipate. That angriness, that level that was running high will slowly come down. Not immediately, but it will slowly come down. So you can say, do you agree that this? Okay? That would be one way. Now, let's discuss different scenarios or different conversations that you've actually had in the past that was difficult, and what happened and how you handled it. I just want you to take a moment, think about it, share your experience. Okay, I'll give you an example to start off with. Okay, so this is something I witnessed a couple of weeks ago. So I live in this area where there are lots of cafes, shops, and restaurants, lots of office buildings, and very few car parks. Okay? Parking is an issue in the area that I live in. So what people usually do is they like to double park. Okay? Malaysians double park. You know what double parking means? So you're parking outside an actual box, okay, a parking spot. It's illegal. You're not supposed to be doing it. But usually they do it if they have a quick run to make. They want to run in, dash in, get something, come out, and they leave a phone number on the dashboard. Right? Have you experienced this before? Okay. So in this instance, what happened? Somebody had been honking. Okay, so I was in a restaurant eating, and naturally it wasn't nice to the customers there because this person was honking and honking and honking. Do you think it's nice when you're having a meal and trying to have a conversation and it's that loud sound? You've all heard it, right? And then you can hear the frustration in the horn. Right? The way the person horns just gets louder and stronger and longer. And so what happened was, I think it took about 15 minutes for this lady to come back to her car. And she didn't say anything. She got into her car and she drove off. Now that person who was left behind was shocked. But he couldn't say anything to her, but naturally he must have said something. He must have yelled something out, and you could see he was really upset. Okay? Now, what conversation could they have had to make that
like, I'm just saying things like, the personal attacks and all that stuff, controlling your emotions. It's true.
Yes, okay. So what did you do in the end? How did you handle the conversation? Did you get upset yourself?
No.
No, okay. So you remained calm.
Yeah, and they usually make people more angry for some reason, but I didn't. And usually, sometimes people, if they don't agree with you, they'll stop like speaking to you. But I always make sure to still treat everybody the same as I treated them before the conversation. So yeah.
Correct. That's very good. Okay. So what Cameron had experienced was the topic was already a difficult topic. Religion. Okay. So religion is very personal.
Politics.
Politics. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Politics.
Uh-huh.
Religion, politics, also two difficult topics to have, right? So politics. Now politics, someone could be left wing, somebody could be right wing, someone is, a supporter of this party, someone is a supporter of that party. It is a very difficult conversation to have. Again, perspectives. Everybody is entitled to their own perspectives, everybody is entitled to their own opinions, but like he said, sometimes people try to force their opinions onto you. What he did was perfect. He remained calm, he stated his opinions, and he still treated that person the same way even after this difficult conversation. So bravo, good job. Atira, how are you?
I'm good, I'm great.
You're good? Okay, so have you had a difficult conversation with anyone?
I don't remember any actually.
Okay.
Because I tend to like forget and forget. That's it.
Okay, all right. Didi?
I hardly have any difficult
Oh wow, lucky you, lucky you. So you never experienced having to maybe fire someone or being fired from a job before?
No. Okay, but I did this on my nieces and my nephew. Because when we go out for dinner, as you know nowadays, kids, they love to play with their phone. You sit down, everybody will just, but they want to eat with you. They invited you for the dinner or for lunch. But once they sit down, everybody will be on their phone. And I would just be sitting down there. Then I got so angry, I said, please, in future, if you want to play with the phone, don't invite me out for dinner. I expect you to spend your time with me. If you want to ask me out for dinner, please put the phone away.
Okay. So had that situation happened before? So it's happened before.
It happened before, yes, it happened before.
So you
All of them were just quiet. Put the phone behind.
so they did what you asked them to do. Okay, all right. So she was prepared going into that situation because she knew, but she obviously had a strong opinion about that, and she wanted to share that opinion with her nephew and nieces, and so that's why she explained to them what they were doing wrong, why.
You're supposed to interact.
Yes.
When you
in a
sit
nutshell.
down, talk. Everybody talk as a family. Not you TikTok here, I WhatsApp there. Ate it, I ate it.
Well done. Okay, so what was the point of her difficult conversation? What did she want to do? What was her purpose? What was the purpose of her discussion with her nephews and nieces? Yes, to put their phones down. But why did she want them to put the phones down? Is it poisonous? No.
No,
So why?
interaction.
She wanted interaction with her family members. Okay, good. Well done. Gladys, have you had a difficult conversation with anybody?
Recently, we had a function in the school, and the boss gave us all food and drinks. So this teacher is a Muslim, and they bought the food from a Chinese shop, and she was making a big fuss over it, and with the drink. So I told her, well, if you don't want the food, take it and give it to somebody instead of making all the noise.
Okay, all right. So again, the purpose, what was the resolution? What did she do that? Was she okay with that? Did she
Took
manage?
it and gave it back to the teacher, so the teacher, okay, you have it on my behalf.
Okay.
Before that, she was making a big fuss over it.
So she was not happy because maybe she felt that they were not considerate towards
But
her
they said
needs.
it was from a halal place, but still she didn't accept it.
Maybe she didn't trust the okay. So again, different perspective, different opinion, right? So she has her own perspective because it's her religion. She wants to follow her religion. she felt they did not show consideration. But what you said to her was giving her a solution,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to eat it. Instead of throwing it away, give it to somebody else. So that was a good resolution, and in the end, it did happen, right? She gave it to somebody else. Okay, all right, well done. So can we move on? All right. Okay, the art of saying no. How many times have we had trouble saying no? How many times? It's so hard to say no, right? Okay, so this is an easy way, a polite way, and a respectful way to say no to somebody, all right? So going through it, can I get Gladys, can you read this, please?
Thank you for the offer, but I have to decline.
Thank you for the offer, but I have to decline. So what does decline mean?
Turn down.
Reject. I don't want. I cannot. Okay, decline. So thank you for the offer, but I have to decline. TD?
I appreciate it, however, I won't be able to.
So when do you think you would say this? I won't be able to.
You can't make it.
Correct. So maybe an event or a function, or they need your time and you aren't able to. So I appreciate it. However, I won't be able to. Okay? Siva, can you read this one? So you give a reason. After declining, give a reason.
That sounds great. Unfortunately, I'm currently handling something urgent.
Correct. So you're not telling them the exact reason, but you're giving them not just a no, but a why for the no. Yeah, right? You're giving them a reason why you cannot say yes. Why, for this instance, you have to say no. Why are you declining either an invitation, or you're declining to help them, or you're unable to attend or unable to help? That sounds great. Unfortunately, I'm currently handling something urgent. So nothing personal, nothing specific, but you're giving them a reason. So at least when somebody receives a reason. So if, for instance, Atira, you had a birthday party and you invited me, and I called you and I said, oh, thank you for inviting me, but unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. What's the next thing you will ask me? Huh?
Fine.
You have another plan?
Yes.
Or you're gonna be busy?
Yes, you want to know why, because that's what happens in our minds, right? I expected you to be there, but now you're saying you can't. Why? So, this is a good way to give someone a reason without getting into specifics. You can offer an alternative if possible, all right? If possible. So maybe you can't make it today, you can't help today, but maybe you can do it another time, or perhaps you can get somebody else to help. TD, how to express gratitude and end on a positive note?
Thanks for understanding, and I hope it goes well.
Yes. Thanks for understanding. I hope it goes well. See, when you decline someone's offer, when you give them a brief reason and you tell them, thank you for understanding, it just helps the situation. It helps them feel better about you declining their request. Okay? So these are several ways to have an easier flow to a difficult conversation. Right? Dealing with criticism and negative feedback. Now, we do have people around us sometimes who like to tell us what we're doing wrong, what we're not good at, And maybe that person has had a similar experience, they tell you a story. So going through very quickly, don't make your story start, end, and jump all over the place. Then the person gets confused. They don't know what your story was all about. So structure your story in your head. Now, a good way to do this is, if you have one or two good stories that you think you might want to share in a social setting, keep them in mind. Prepare. Structure your story before you tell it. And I'm not meaning at that moment. You won't have time in that moment. When you have your free time, think about the story you want to tell. Your story must have a beginning, a middle, and an ending. It cannot be too long. A very long-winded story makes people fall asleep. Make it relatable. So obviously, talk about a story that's relating to the situation, your environment. Don't go and talk about history to people who maybe they're interested in skateboarding. They might not be interested in the topic. So keep your story relatable. Make it intriguing. Now this word, intriguing, who can tell me what it means? Intriguing.
Over-exaggerated?
Yes, suspenseful. So suspenseful means, when you watch a thriller, you're like, oh my god, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? So you want people to guess, you want them to be curious. So you can start with, you won't believe what happened. Or you won't believe what I saw. Now when you do that, people become intrigued or interested. Then you start your story. But remember, prepare the story, beginning, ending, middle, and ending. Use appropriate humor. Now, with certain groups of people, you can use a certain type of humor. With certain others, you cannot. So if you are used to telling certain jokes with your groups of friends around your age group, and they can handle it, no matter what kinds of jokes you're telling, it may not be appropriate to tell that same story or make that same joke with maybe older people or people from your workplace or maybe your bosses. So make sure that it's appropriate. Don't offend anybody's religion. Don't body shame. So basically those sorts of things. Don't use politics if you can, unless it's a group that you know and trust well. So if you're meeting people for the first time, avoid bad jokes. Alright. So we're going to tell a story. You're going to think about a story. So right now, I just want you to use the piece of paper in front of you. Just think of a story that you could tell a friend. Any story. It should be an experience that you've had. I'm going to give you about 3 to 5 minutes. Just write a beginning, an ending, a middle, and an end. Don't worry, you won't have to share it. I will go around just to have a look at what your beginning, your middle, and your end is.
Maybe any story?
It's a story that we experience or make-up story.
It can be either one. It can be an experience, but if you really can't think of an experience, you can use a story that somebody else has told you. So maybe somebody else's experience, somebody else's story would be fine as well. Don't give the Sang Kan Chill story, Sang Kan Chill and Buaya. You don't want to hear fables. I don't want to know about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I already know that. So try to get a story where, it's an experience somebody else had. Or maybe you had. It doesn't have to be stuff that novels are written out of. It's just a basic story that you would tell in a social setting. Maybe something interesting that happened, something you saw, something that you thought was something else, and then there was a twist. Actually, it turned out to be nothing. I thought it was this in the house, but it turned out to be something else. once I was alone at home, and I kept hearing this crackling sound in my bathroom. And I didn't know what it was. I thought it was some insect, right, at first. And I looked everywhere, searched everywhere. I could not find it, but it was a turned off the lights, went to sleep again. So then I started walking to all the walls. I'm walking around listening to walls. And I kept hearing it through the walls. So then I started worrying, oh no, is it an electrical problem? Right? Because you're hearing crackling sounds in the wall, could possibly be electrical problems, right? And I thought, oh no, something's gonna blow up. My house is gonna catch on fire, what are we gonna do? Turned on all the lights, turned on and off all the switches, blah, 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 blah. Then I found a little bee in the light. So, bee in the light. I was like, oh, thank God. But the minute I said, oh, thank God, the bee flew into my room. So obviously I couldn't sleep, and guess where it went? It was on the ceiling. So I knew there was no point in getting a ladder. I was not going to get to the bee. If I climbed up that ladder, even with a broom or a mop, what was going to happen to me?
Well,
Most likely I was going to fall. And so I sat there watching the bee because I didn't want to turn off the lights and go to sleep. So I fell asleep holding a mop in my hand, squatting on my floor. But when I woke up in the morning, the bee wasn't there anymore.
oh, wow.
So that's the story of Shakira and the bee. Okay, guys, we're gonna pretend that you've already had a story session. I'm gonna edit the video because I know you all want to leave, and I thank you for your time. So we're gonna go. All right. So let's look at the summary. So you've all gone through a lot today. You've learned a lot today. I'd like you to try and remember what you learned in today's session. What can you remember from today's session? Just anything. Just tell me whether it was examples, opinions, my stories, anything you learned on the board, any words you saw on the board. New words?
Conversations,
Okay, conversations. What kind of conversations did you
how
learn?
to speak correct English.
Okay, how to speak English correctly, the correct grammar. Okay, anything else?
Okay, as a native English speaker, I can tell you one thing I never thought about was the power part of the word. I never thought of
The syllables,
Yeah,
right?
gave any the syllables, but the
Into
power part.
the stress.
The stress
of
part,
the
yeah.
word,
I never gave that any thought until
Okay,
today.
and did that help with your pronunciation?
Yes, it gives you the structure.
Right.
The
So
structure of the word.
I'll give you a word as a native English speaker. This word, just have a look at it. Tell me if it's structured a different way. The stress is put in different ways.
Oh, I see.
So one is
Produce,
produce
and
and
the other is produce.
produce. What's the difference?
One is like vegetables, and the other one means to make something.
Excellent. So you see, same spelling.
I
Yeah.
never know that.
Yeah, one means
Uh-huh.
grocery vegetables, and the other one is to make something. Yeah.
Yep. But it's the same word, just the stress part is in a different spot.
Correct. And it means an entirely different
Yep.
thing.
And it changes the whole definition.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. Anybody else? Anything you've learned? Didn't learn
Yeah,
anything?
actually, I learned something new today. I like the syllables, the
I like the
nouns
syllables
part,
and
and
the nouns.
I learned something new, yeah.
Okay, great.
Because sometimes I'm having troubles, with pronunciation, and sometimes he corrected me. It's like
Yeah.
it's not that, it's like this, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm glad. TD, glad
Chắc là phải đều cảm ơn cái buổi
Parents
sớm
have
phô
always
chắc
wanted
là
her to attend the English class, okay?
xin
But
lỗi
the mom just passed away lah,
cái
couple months
điểm
back.
mò
So he said at least she make an effort to attend today and she enjoys it.
Ủa hơi xong rồi.
Okay, thank you.
I'm
And
glad you enjoy.
just to go through, these are some of the things that we learned today. Just go through it, have a look.
Actually, small talk is chit chat, right?
Small talk is
Yeah,
chit chat.
the small talk
Exactly.
come out, the chit chat.
It's the same thing.
Things on the
the same-
surface. Things on the surface when you talk.
Yeah, so not very.
The shallow one